All right, let's get started. So if we have not met either in person or digitally, I'm Drew McClellan, one of the owners of Agency Management Institute. You see my business partner, Danielle Newcomb McClellan, the other owner on your screen somewhere. Super grateful, as always, to have generous agency owners who will share what they're doing. You know, everything is so crazy with AI and it's changing so fast that I know all of you are scrambling to figure out what's what. And so we will continue to host these webinars every month or 6 weeks, as long as somebody keeps raising their hand and saying that they are willing to share. So Karina and Stephen and Andrew are here. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but each of them are going to take 10 to 15 minutes to show us something they're doing with AI right now in their agency. So no theoretical, no philosophy, just here's what we're doing and how it's working. And then we'll pause for questions at the end. So Stephen, I believe you are going to be up first. So I think as co-host, you should be able to share, right?
Try that and see.
There we go.
Right. Move it out of the way. Okay, are you able to see the full screen?
We are, yep.
Perfect. Okay.
So Stephen, just a quick, like 2 lines, who you are, where your agency is, and then jump right in.
Yep, awesome. So I'm Stephen Brent May, and I'm one of the founders of 1 Foot Over. We are a strategy first marketing agency located in Houston, but we have clients all over the US, Canada, a few places elsewhere, but primarily US and Canada. And like I said, we're a strategy first agency, but we really focus on 3 things: go to market, marketing strategy, things like buyer personas, customer journey mapping, and then marketing. And we really serve B2B tech and sustainability. So in the next 10 minutes, you know, the quick agenda here really is talking about best and next practices for us, specifically things we're doing at our agency. And I'm going to talk about 2 very specific things we use AI for, and that's content ideation and improvement, and then some scalable SEO things that we're doing with Bard. Just to preface, you know, probably like many of the agencies on here and my co-presenters, I'm not an AI expert. This is something that, you know, as we were learning about it over the last few years, we've adopted it. We've been learning ourselves. So we're still very much in that learning process like everybody out there. But there are a few things that we're doing internally that we found success with, and that's really what I want to share. But the first thing first, and I'm sure you've heard this really, when it comes to AI at your agency, have a policy. It doesn't have to be this huge, you know, 14-page legal document, but at least have something that is your guiding light internally that helps to make sure you're using it in the right ways and your entire team knows how to use the tools and they're also using it the right way. So a few of the things that we talk about internally, and it's a part of our internal policy, and this is not, you know, this is certainly not legal advice, but you know, we're transparent with our clients. We let them know that we use AI tools for content creation, content improvement, for SEO. You know, it's not something that we try to keep secret from them. We let them know that AI is a part of what we do. Our clients are looking to us for ideas. They're looking to make sure we're on top of things. So we feel like it's very important that we share that we use these tools with our clients. Another big thing is just don't copy and paste. It's really easy to input information, get output. We never just copy and paste directly from there. In, you know, reading some of the legal ramifications and the things out there about, you know, AI and copyright issues, these, you know, these language learning models, they're outputting information based on information that's been fed into them, based on information they're gathering. So, you know, there's the risk of getting copyrighted information back. If you use that, you could be, you know, liable for using copyrighted information. So always make sure that you're using it as a tool and then you're reworking it yourself. So especially when it comes to content creation and design. So one of our rules is you just never copy and paste from an AI tool. And then experiment and test. So, I'm really going to focus on 2 tools today, but we use a lot more. And a lot of times we will use the exact same prompt across multiple tools just to see, what's working, like where do we get the best results? So experimenting and testing is a big piece of what we do. We also use AI tools for meeting notes, recap, and we've experimented with several. So that's one of our internal guidelines is just always experiment, test, see what works. And then the last thing really is to never share proprietary information, especially client information. I'll talk about a specific use case here where, we input information into a tool, but you always want to make sure what you're sharing are things that are publicly available and not things that are proprietary to the client, to their business, their IP, because that is how these models get better, but that is not information you want out there. All right, so I'm going to jump in and talk about the first way that we use AI in the agency, and so it's content ideation and improvement. So the 2 tools that we really focus on here are copy.ai, which is, I believe it's around $9 a month. So it's pretty inexpensive. If you've used Jasper, it's very similar to that. It's, we've experimented again with several. It's the one we preferred. So copy.ai is one of our favorite tools, and I'll talk about how we use it, and then also Bard from Google. So when it comes to content ideation and improvement, those are 2 that we use. We also use ChatGPT, but we found more success really with copy.ai. So one of the ways, give an example here, we send a newsletter every Saturday to our clients, and then we also have, 1,000 subscribers or so that we send a weekly newsletter to from the agency. And really what it is, it's curated content. So we share 3 articles each week where we add, a 2 to 3 sentence blurb, a headline, and a call to action to read the article. And we've been doing it for 5 years now. And so each week we have to, if we've read articles throughout the week that we're like, this is really valuable information, we include that, but we always have to read the article and come up with, something that's a little bit fun about it, because I'll talk about our brand voice here in just a bit, but, there's a little bit of humor to what we do. So it gets a little taxing each week to come up with, creative ideas and creative ways to say things. So we'll put these articles in Bard and copy.ai. And so the prompt we use here is really just to analyze the article, then write some funny headlines about it. So sometimes we do this just to get unstuck. Sometimes I can read an article and I'm like, okay, I have a really fun idea about it, and I can just knock it out. Other times, I'm like, I have no idea what to say about this. And so this is just a way we use it to get unstuck. You can see this first one here, 101 email subject lines that will make your subscribers soak their pants. We would never use that, but that's that thing about AI. Not everything is great. So, these are the times too where we have a lot of fun with it internally and we share this stuff with each other. But one of the ways we do this is just really getting unstuck and trying to get the idea generated at first. So aside from our weekly newsletter that we send to everyone, we were also coming up with a client-only newsletter. And we were having trouble coming up with like a name for it. So our weekly newsletter is called Weekend Reading because it comes out on Saturdays. So we're having a hard time coming up with a name for the client-only newsletter. And so you can see here, we put about 5 different prompts in Bard. We also put the same prompts in copy.ai, ChatGPT, and I'll talk about this at the end. We got mixed results with, using 5 different prompts. And this is part of our testing and experimenting. You can see that we get very specific where we ask things like create 10 ideas for a newsletter from a marketing agency called One Foot Over. In the middle, we're like, just give us 10, kind of 10 puns about feet or walking, because, we're really just trying to generate ideas there. So that's one way. Another way we use Bard. Copy.ai, one of the ways, we use it the same way we've used Bard in the last 2 examples, but another thing that we do is occasionally we'll write the blurbs for Weekend Reading. So this is 3 examples here. Headline, the internal 2 to 3 sentence blurb, and then the call to action button. So once we have those written, we'll put these in copy.ai sometimes and just say, hey, can you improve this? Can you rewrite this in our brand voice? And a lot of times, we end up liking the results better. So we'll, take what they write, copy it, tweak it a little to make sure we're not using copyrighted information. And then that's what we'll end up using. So in this example, I want to highlight kind of this last call to action here. We were asking for feedback on our newsletter, and the call to action was talk about us behind our backs. So we were asking for people to write reviews. When we put it in, we're giving away some swag for doing the reviews, and you can see the last call to action was rewritten as spill the tea and win swag. This is so much more in our brand voice, and so this is what we went with. So again, we're not always asking it to do the heavy lifting of creating from scratch. Sometimes we write it, and we also just ask it to help improve, give us a fresh take on the content we've already written. So with copy.ai, you can browse prompts. So if you don't know where to start, you can also, there's the option to copy your text in there, which is what we do sometimes, or we paste our text in there that we've already written, and we just click improve. But I think one of the most powerful things about it is this brand voice. So right here, this shows no brand voice, but you can load in a brand voice for your own agency and for your clients. And the way that works with copy.ai is essentially you paste in 300 to 500 words of publicly available content. Again, never anything proprietary. So typically we'll start with our website, and we'll find the best pieces of content from our website or our clients' websites that really capture their voice, or sales collateral, emails that they've written. And we paste that into this brand voice tool in copy.ai. And then what it will do is it will generate a brand voice for you from there. So again, this is how it defined our brand voice based on our content that we put in there. This is really on point. We always say that, kind of our brand, we're the last to leave the office and the party. We're people that we know our stuff, but we're somebody that our clients want to have a drink with after. So it did a really good job of capturing our brand voice. So anytime we put content in the copy.ai, we always select 1 Foot Over as the brand voice. And so anything that it spits out is written in our voice. If we do it with clients, same thing. We'll write content, and then we'll select that client's brand. And then anything that it spits out is written in their brand voice. So if it's very formal, authoritative, whatever that is, the results are always in the brand voice. So I want to flip over quickly and just give an example of how we use Bard for SEO at scale. And so a lot of people have asked, why Bard for SEO? Why not ChatGPT? Why not copy.ai? They all do this. And we've done things like writing SEO optimized content in copy.ai, but at the end of the day, Bard is created by Google. Google owns search space. When we put in these prompts, I'm going to trust that what Google is telling me here when it comes to optimizing content is probably going to be better for SEO, since they're the ones that really own both of those spaces, as much as you want to trust Google. So one of the things that we do, and I use our website here as an example, so we put in a prompt for the website getOneFootOver.com. So we want this to be analyzed, and we want to create 10 long tail keywords that will drive high intent traffic for people that are likely to hire a marketing agency. So what I really love about this when it comes to SEO too, is that you can ask for a specific output. And here you can see on the example, I wanted the results in a table, and then I specify what I want in each column. I want to know the keyword, the search volume, the difficulty, and then create for that keyword an optimized page title and meta description. And then here's the part about Bard where I think it's really powerful in terms of SEO at scale. Because it's built by Google and it's using Google engine, I specifically asked to analyze, real-time search results to generate these specific things. So I'm not using like ChatGPT data from 2021 and, back. What I'm using are real-time search results. And so the way this information is spit out on here is I get a table and I can export this to Google Sheets easily and work with it there. Is I can see here are a few examples of the long tail keywords. Here's the monthly search volume, medium difficulty. So this gives me an idea here of where I can start. Do I want to focus on a keyword that's somewhat difficult to rank for, or do I want to go for something easier? Is there enough search volume? So some of the basic SEO things that we're used to dealing with if you're in that space, but really you can do this at scale here. You can analyze a website, have it optimize page titles for your entire site, spit them out in a table like this. So highly recommend Bard for scalable SEO. And again, don't copy and paste. Always look through the results. Always make sure you're putting a human touch to it, because at the end of the day, when we did the newsletter, the internal client newsletter, and we got, probably 15 different prompts and all these ideas, we ended up calling it What's New, What's Next, which is one of our core values. So we were using AI for all these things, trying to generate all these ideas. But at the end of the day, something that already existed that we had written ourselves years ago ended up being the name. So it's not replaced us as humans yet. We're still creative individuals that do good work. These tools just help us get unstuck. Again, not an expert, but had some experience with these, had some success. Happy to talk more about it, answer questions at the end, but feel free to connect with me offline as well. Happy to talk more.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. All right, Karina, I think you're up.
My microphone, I hit the wrong button. Okay, should be sharing.
There you go. Yep.
All right. There we go. As Drew said, my name is Karina. I am the founder of Key Media Solutions. We are a digital media firm based in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So we work with internal marketing teams and agencies to bring depth in capabilities, expertise, and technology when it comes to paid advertising on the internet. And we've been around for 12 years now and have been really kind of exploring this world of AI since the first marketing AI conference in 2019 really opened my eyes. And so I'm going to take you a little bit on our journey. And we started first by what we deemed as Project Buffalo in 2021, where we really wanted to identify all of the areas across our organization where there was frustrations, where there was redundancies, where there was inefficiencies. So we did an internal team survey. We followed up with interviews and then job shadowing just to figure out across the organization where we had some low-hanging fruit that we could identify and jump into. We then identified some use cases with those challenges and efficiencies, and then classified them and prioritized them between quick wins, sweet spots, and then moonshots. Next, we wanted to evaluate where our partners, where the companies, our tech stack was already investing in AI capabilities, what they had available to us, and how they were rolling out different programs, because they have way deeper pockets than we do. And we know that we're going to use these tools anyway. So if we can get on the front end of how they are using the AI technology and rolling it out, it makes us smarter, faster. It teaches our team for us and allows us faster capabilities. And so we went through our tech stack and we broke everything down, and we went to these platforms and researched them and had conversations where they would have conversations with us to figure out what they were doing with AI technology, and offered to beta test it for them and to be some of the first to test it out and be on the front end with some of these organizations. So from there, we wanted to find some supplemental solutions within a safe framework. Again, going back to our use case worksheet, we wanted to identify what is that problem statement that we're trying to solve? What is the value statement that goes along with it? what's the estimated revenue or value with dollar signs associated to it, to a 1-year investment for our team or 1-year value, and then at 3 years. We categorized them. We clarified what we wanted the outcome to be. Why were we looking at this? What did we want to, again, kind of rework that problem statement a little bit. And then we enabled our team to research and test. And we did that by giving them kind of bumpers, if you will, with our AI use policy. We generated internal governance committee to kind of oversee what our teams were doing and set boundaries for them on what they could and couldn't do. Much to what Stephen shared, is a lot of that is within our policy as well. We implemented a testing request form. If somebody wants to test a new piece of technology, they can fill out a quick form that really goes over what's the problem statement, what's the value, what are they trying to solve, and then a post-test report. So 30 days later, they have to report back to the AI committee on, did it do what they expected it to do? Should we move forward with it? Does the value outweigh the cost? And then we also, similar to Stephen, implemented some client communication on transparency, but it also allowed us to really showcase the innovations that we were bringing to the industry and start some really good conversations with our clients about what we're currently doing and what they could potentially be doing, or how they could get ahead through their continued partnership with us. And we've also incorporated some of that language into our terms and conditions in all of our contracts. So our first really big move in 2022 was incorporating Gusto with QuickBooks. And Gusto is an HR platform that focuses on payroll and benefits. And it automated and simplified our payroll, automated our benefits management, new employee onboarding. It completely simplified our PTO management, automated all expense reimbursements, and it integrated with our employee health reimbursement accounts. So that is literally, we get a report generated, it goes to our HR person, he looks at it, he checks it, it automatically gets put into the next pay period. We don't have to enter anything, we just have to check a box. And it also has AI-enabled reporting, which makes reporting considerably faster. So digging into this a little bit more, because for this was a big game changer. But being able to connect PTO with our actual payment systems, time off reports and time tracking. If you have any hourly employees, it automatically pulls their hours into payroll. And all you have to do is review it, hit a checkbox, and it automatically calculates their paycheck. There's no data entry. There's no printing time cards. You can set it up for a manager to approve it if you'd like. We're able to identify and monitor automatic updates and changes. If there's any changes that occur at the state level or the federal level, Gusto monitors it for us, tells us that they're making the change and implements the change within the platform. So we don't have to do anything but acknowledge that a change was made. It files all of our federal and state reports for us and automatically makes the payments that we need to make on a quarterly basis. Again, it just says we're filing this report. This is the amount that we need to send based on the information that's collected. And it doesn't, we just had a light turn off automatically. So it got dark, but it assists in employee relocation. We just had an employee move from Tennessee to North Carolina, and it took our HR guy a 15-minute phone call to Gusto, and they were set up in the new state with the new taxes and unemployment laws. And then it also files, I think I said that, our quarterly and annual reports. So it also provides us great access to just really quick reporting. But for our organization, just implementing Gusto and the capabilities, the automations, and the AI that it brings in, it saved us 32.5 hours per employee. That is a significant savings. I cannot talk about this one enough. I think it's fantastic.
And I love that this is internally focused rather than client focused, because I think we think about AI always being about how to do client work. And I think there's so many efficiencies and smart things we can do. And this is a great example of that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that I can't even talk about. Everything that we did in our billing in general, from client billing and getting information from our client contracting software into QuickBooks and automating all of that, we've eliminated 1.5 people in overhead and time. And that person that's now doing it still has time available. Basically took 2 people's jobs and has capacity to do more. So the other one, social media management and cloud campaign, is the tool that we've identified. It's an AI-powered social media management. It sets up drip campaigns. It has built-in curation of content and automated reporting tools. It's interactive and responsive reporting, and this is available to you. It's actually, Cloud Campaign is built for agencies to use with their clients. So it's completely white label capabilities. You provide your clients links. They're able to log in and approve calendars at the click of a button, add comments and notes. It just has a lot of really awesome capabilities that we have found have been super helpful and efficient. One is content curation. And so when you go into a brand or a campaign, so this is for Key Media Solutions, it'll give you topics that are timely and trending right now, and it'll give you all the resources. And literally you just click on one of these boxes and add it to your content library. And it automatically pulls that into your content library as a resource that can be pulled from to develop content for your social media pages. Content curation is the next part of it. So once you've got your content library full, it can be your own, it can be past blogs, it can be things that you've created or written in-house, information created by copy.ai. It can all be imported into the system. Photographs, team photos, any sort of graphics, arts, whatever that you've got in there. So you go in there and it's like, okay, I want to write a caption about growing business using social media, super basic. The platforms I want to do it for are Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I want a caption count of 3. Hit submit, and it comes back with, here are 3 prompts that it came back to me with within seconds. You can edit them, you can delete it, or you can approve it and save it to your campaign, and it'll schedule it for Instagram. You can tell it what day to schedule it. When you want it to go out, do you want an image added with it? It'll curate an image from your content library that aligns with the content of that. And then it also does drip campaigns. So if you've got a client that has very little budget or doesn't want to spend a lot on organic social media posting, you can curate their content. So build their content library and then set up a drip campaign. You give it the title, you pick the time you want it to go. Do you want the content added immediately? Do you want it one day, or do you want it to be evergreen and continue? And then you use like autofill, which means it basically is going into your content library and creating the content for you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, depending on what you schedule it for and the platforms you want it in. It'll create the content or you can create new content, or you can upload existing content. And then this is what it looks like. So this is for the Instagram. This is what was generated off of that prompt. And it was the quote, master the topic, the message, and the delivery, Steve Jobs. And then it just posts it. You can tell it where to do. And it integrates with 9 different social networks, I believe. So it goes beyond Facebook, Instagram. It does Twitter. It does TikTok. It does Snapchat. It integrates with all of those, including, I think, YouTube's on that list too. And then the reporting you can set up. You can customize the reports. If you put in your budget, it'll give you ROI metrics. You can tell it what you want it to include or what you don't want it to include. And then all of this can be customized and white labeled for either your brand or for your client's brand. And so for us, this is important because we do work with a lot of ad agencies. So this needs to be branded for the client agency and not for Key Media. So some of the different reporting options, it also gives you overviews, insights, and analytics. So the image post with a log caption containing hashtags, and I can't read the rest of it because it's covered by photos, but you can read it. It's 94% more engaging, and you should post it between these times for optimum. And then it analyzes all of your different post types that you have, and it tells you which ones are getting the most likes, which ones are getting retweets, which ones are getting quotes. And so that you can curate and create more content that is getting the engagements that you're trying to achieve. So for us with basically since the start of Project Buffalo, we did an internal study on efficiencies, and 10 months later, just this last June, we followed up and did another study, and we tracked a 10% improvement in efficiency across our entire organization by implementing some of these solutions into our processes and alleviating redundancies, repetitive tasks, and data entry.
It's awesome.
Pretty awesome. So
Thank you.
that's what I got for you today.
And when I send you guys the replay of all of this, I'll have underneath the video Stephen and Karina and Andrew's contact information, so you don't necessarily have to click through their decks. They'll send me
And
their decks
on
and
that,
I'll share those as well. Go ahead, Karina.
if anybody wants a copy of that spreadsheet that I showed, that kind of was our idea generator and use case spreadsheet, I'd be happy to send that as well.
Okay. Why don't you just send it to me and I'll just stick it in with the resources.
good.
All right, Andrew, big finish. You're up.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's dive in. I'm Andrew Scarborough. I'm CEO at Delegator. We've been around 14 years. We're in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We're an 18-person team focused almost exclusively on paid media management, with about half of our business with other agencies, so paid media management for other agencies. So a little bit about how we're using AI. I want to start first with a principle that we internally call layer one. We had this concept many years ago, well before AI got popular online, of like, we'd be in a meeting and three people would be talking about some email or something that needed to be written, and somebody would volunteer, hey, I'll take a stab at layer one. And then others would come in and we'd get to however many layers it needed to get to the finished email or statement of work or you name it. And so once AI started getting more popular, we said, hey, let's use AI for that layer one. Let's not, as Stephen was saying, copy and paste in its final layer, but let's let it help us be more efficient at getting started. And another important principle with AI that we feel strongly about is the prompt is key. You saw some good prompts from the first two, and I won't go into all of my thoughts on prompting, but learnprompting.org is a good resource that has kind of from 101 to more advanced topics on prompting that may be useful for you or your teams or even clients. So that's one worth checking out. So within our agency, I won't cover all of these, but you'll see some of them. But that layer one concept's important. I mentioned the email. If you need to send that follow-up email to a client or a tricky email about a pricing increase, having something that gets you started and keeping the team on task is good. Ideation, we saw Stephen talking about content ideation. They can be, I say, simple contract edits if there's a section within a statement of work or a contract that you want to get, again, a layer one, not a legal advice piece, but that's often been helpful for us to then ask legal, hey, what do you think about something like this? And it's led to lower legal bills for us when we have a starting point that gets at what we want, and then checked by a human attorney. And then writer's block too. So I'll speak to some of these, but I'm really going to focus on Google Duet, which is relatively new. I was at a peer group with Drew just a month ago, and it was in very limited beta. It is now creeping out of beta, but this is built on Google Bard that Stephen mentioned. So we are a Google Suite organization, and a lot of what I'll talk about here, if you're on Microsoft Teams or something else, it doesn't mean this isn't going to be helpful. It's just definitely going to be more helpful to those using Gmail, Google Docs, spreadsheets, slides. But Google this is their answer, in my opinion, to ChatGPT, of making it more accessible, meeting the millions of users where they are, so you don't have to have those two tabs open where you're copying and pasting sections from ChatGPT or Copy AI into wherever you're emailing from, or docs or spreadsheets. So the first, and at the risk of a live demo not working as well as it should, I'm going to hop over. Are you seeing, Drew, that email draft?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to show it in Gmail where I am right now. So I said, write Drew an email thanking him for the opportunity to present, also thank him for the great week in Montreal with the peer group. This is what Google Duet spit out within Gmail, and you can give it feedback. You can refine that. You can update the prompt or make it casual to tone and the prompting piece. And this all happens very nicely within Gmail. And you can have it broaden that, refine it. Let's elaborate, make it more formal, recreate it, and run it back. This is all within Gmail. So again, meeting you where you are. The next would be within Google Docs. So if I'm ideating here in Google Docs, this help me write prompt that you may or may not see within your Google account yet. If you're a Google Suite business user, you may have to apply for this, but this will soon be universally available unless something changes. But this is great within a collaborative document like this, where a content team may be thinking of ideas for an internal blog post or something for clients. And we've noticed the speed is definitely not consistent. That one was decent, but okay, we've got some ideas here about PPC management is complex and time consuming, and some points there that then we can insert directly in the doc, make comments, edit, tag people. Hey, can you change this? Or have it rewrite sections if we don't like that. And same way, let's actually write the full post here and see what we get. Let's actually write the blog post of 5 reasons why to outsource PPC. And again, is this going to be perfectly copy pastable? Absolutely not, but a helpful layer one. And that's what we've seen when we were previously using Jasper, ChatGPT, and a few others. Lex.ai was another favorite. But okay, we've got freeing up time if you outsource your PPC of other aspects of your creative agency. I mean, some decent points, but of course we would want to inject what we really feel about that. But that's a helpful demo on the Google Docs side. And then where I think it really gets interesting is on the Google Sheets that again can be exported to Excel, even if you're not a Google organization. But I asked for a $50,000 per month budget broken down by digital ad platform, and I wanted to make sure Meta, Google, Bing, and LinkedIn were included. And that's all that I put in here, and this is what it gave me. Of course, we're not going to let Google Duet give us the strategy here, but the framework more so of the spreadsheet, that yes, I could go make those column headers and some of the drop downs and conditionals and budgets that add up to the right amount, but it's nice to have a helpful starting point. Same thing with something simple like a spreadsheet to track sales commissions for Drew, Danielle, and Babette. Time period is January to December. And is this perfect? No, but it works. And again, a starting point. So back to some of the pieces that we feel are important is when you get stuck. So writer's block, I would now expand that point to a spreadsheet block and beyond, and definitely in Gmail as well. So I went through these in case the live demo didn't work, but it's got the commands there on the top right where you can have it retry, or even custom, where you can type in like just like you would a ChatGPT with refinements. You can do the same thing in line, and then also proofreading. I didn't show that, but you can check in on your writing or your post that you wrote totally on your own and see, are there some complex sentences that I need to split out? Is there some wording that I may want to reconsider? So using what's built on Google Bard to see how concise am I? Talk to me about active voice, my wording and sentence structure can also be really helpful. And then here's their example on an agenda for a one-day sales kickoff meeting with descriptions and statuses, and it spits out something pretty nice and usable. And then the one that I didn't show, this is going to be more like Mid-Journey, but in Google Slides, you can say, help me visualize. So if you're looking for that placeholder image or the 2 shaking hands on a screen, type that in. This one does take a little bit longer to generate from our experience, and is absolutely terrible when it comes to anything human related. But if you're looking for something that's more a picture of fruit on a table at a conference or something like that, it's worth trying out, and we expect this product to get better as you see other really impressive things happening in the image space from Mid-Journey and others. But it's interesting to see the velocity that Google has moved into this space and putting it into their products. And then to the point of trust, many of us are already trusting Google with our proprietary information, our emails, our sensitive files and documents. And not to say that I implicitly trust Google, but we already have much in that ecosystem. So rather than adding in other entities where we are putting things, I like that Google is adding this to some of their existing products, though we are still being careful with the amount of proprietary information we'll feed to any of the help me visualize, help me write, or help me organize. So that's the quick rundown on Google.
Andrew, did you have to do something to get access to Duet?
Yeah, a month ago, yes. I'll just Google it. There is a Google Duet for Workspace. There is a sign up here where I don't know if it's exactly a wait list. It's kind of black box on how they have been rolling this out. But we did that. We have not gotten it fully at Delegator. We didn't get the slides piece where you can create images. So we were getting it product by product. And then I'm using my personal Gmail just because it got all of them when I signed up early with my personal Gmail. But yeah, I would recommend getting on that wait list if you are a Google organization, as we expect it to have all of the same controls that other products within Google Workspace has, where you can turn it off or turn it off for specific products. I imagine that granularity is going to be available on the controls as well.
All right. Thank you, all three of you. So we have about 15 minutes for questions. So you can either unmute and ask your question, or you can type it in the chat, whatever is easier for you. Anybody have questions? Thank you cards. How are you using those with AI, Andrew?
Yeah, so that email that I drafted to Drew would be one of those. So we're not doing it with handwritten thank you cards, though I guess that could be tied in where you're using a service like the company handwritten, generate it with AI, feed it to them, and do that. And Drew and I were laughing about how outsourcing thoughtfulness to AI is just absolutely crazy. But yeah, the quick email thank you that we all are sending probably a handful of per month is just one small example, but those are often short enough to pump out yourself, and the prompt is often half the length of the email, so you might as well just do it yourself and be thoughtful. But that is one where we used it last holiday season, not with Google, but with ChatGPT, while putting in a few we had a spreadsheet and would concatenate different things of making sure that we included one personalized point for each of our partners when we were doing partner thank you notes.
Okay. Other folks? I love the variety of this and how a lot of you are using it for internal purposes, either marketing or managing HR or communication, spreadsheet building. So again, I think we all gravitate to the way, we're using it for client work, and a lot of people are talking about ChatGPT and Midjourney and all of those things, but I think we're just scratching the surface, and we haven't really thought about how it can impact our business yet. So I love that these examples are in some ways all kind of internal focused for a change, which has not been the case in the last few that we've done.
Yeah, I think that fits true with what you've been talking about recently with trends in the space and people or agencies really with 2023 sometimes being very happy with being flat given the environment. Right. And so with that comes the need for efficiencies. And so the stats that Karina had and that we've not tracked as close as that 10% improvement or your Gusto numbers, but I think what we're looking for is operational efficiency to where we can hit that higher effective hourly rate for clients or get our internal work done faster to get back to the performance side.
So Brent is asking if anybody has published a point of view on AI use for clients. So Brent, I'm assuming you're asking, has anyone publicly published something, as opposed to what I think all three folks talked about in terms of having sort of an internal policy? Is that, am I interpreting your question correctly?
Yeah, I've had a couple of client questions about where we stand, and we've published like a blog post about whether you should use it or not, and you know, that you don't want to copy and paste directly that type of content. But I feel like getting ahead of the curve and telling clients proactively this is the way we're using it is a lacking space, at least for us right now.
We've not published a like official point of view, but the client newsletter that I talked about, the one that's specific to our clients, we mentioned it in the first issue of that when it went out, and we've had conversations with clients about it. But from that, one of our clients actually asked if we would come in to their office and just demonstrate to their team how they could use AI internally. So it's a really great idea. We just haven't went as far as publishing something like that's more public yet, but I think there's a lot of value in doing that.
We have one that's been written, which seems a little bit weird because we've been using AI in the ad platforms and optimizations and reporting space for 3 years. I mean, it seems like we've been using it for a long time, but we are going to formally, we've just got an attorney reviewing it right now just to make sure they don't have any concerns over it. But we're just essentially telling them that this is, you hire us because we're in an innovative space and you want us to be innovative and you want us to keep you in front of technology as it's changing. And that's what we're doing. And AI is a part of those tools that we utilize. But we will also add a tag or a clarity statement. If we use AI to generate content, if we use AI to generate images, we will note that every time.
You know, it's interesting. I think a lot of you are making some assumptions around sort of where your clients are at, or certainly where bigger brands are at. And in a lot of the conversations I'm having with agencies, and also I just had a long conversation with Paul Reitzer from Marketing AI Institute, and he said that his impression is even big brands are looking to their agencies to sort of lead the path and to tell clients how they can embrace and use and protect themselves, all of those things in terms of AI. And it's an opportunity for us to really step up into an advisory role with clients. And he was talking about some of the fees that agencies are getting to basically just advise clients how to create even internal policies around AI, or external policies, or how and where to use it. And the fees were staggering. And so I think the opportunity here for us is to get, you know, for many of you, you're frustrated when you can't get to the C-suite to have conversations, strategic conversations with clients. And this very well may be a topic where, as you get smarter about this and you experiment with this, you can help your clients think it through. I think the trick is that we have to adopt an iterative attitude about it. We can't go in thinking or sort of faking that we know it all, because it changes every freaking day. So we have to go into our clients with honesty and humility and say, look, this is changing every day, but here's how we think we should approach it, how we should experiment with it together, how we are, you know, learning with other clients. Do you want to do a beta? Can we come in and help you look at some of the other things? And by the way, I think it's an opportunity for you to get dollars outside of marketing dollars, right? Because all the examples you guys gave today are really not really marketing, or they're marketing light, as opposed to sales or HR or other things. And if we can find a way to be helpful in those arenas as well, that just makes us more valuable to clients. Other questions for Karina, Stephen, or Andrew? We're talking $400 or $500 an hour an hourly rate. I mean, not that you would package it up by the hour, but an hourly rate that most agencies are not seeing. So again, it's that consultant space. It's what Bain or McKinsey or somebody else would get for an hour of consulting. Agencies are commanding that when they're consulting on this sort of thing. So, it's very much more like a consultant space. And for many of you, with the year that you've had this year, nobody's going to sneeze at $400 an hour. So, other questions? All right. So if you are here today listening and you're experimenting with AI in a way that we haven't talked about yet in one of these, and you want to step up into, the spot that Karina, Stephen, and Andrew did, just send me an email and tell me what it is that you're doing, and I'll try and key up another couple agency owners, and we'll do this again in October or November. But, we're committed to continuing to give you guys as much exposure as we can to each other. And again, as all three of these folks have said, is we're still figuring out, we're just experimenting, not an expert, but we are finding some really practical uses for these tools. So we're going to keep sharing that back and forth with everybody as best we can, so that everybody can get smarter when we get smarter together, which, is a big component of what we believe. So Karina, Stephen, Andrew, thank you very much for putting together your deck and being willing to share with us what you're doing. I'll watch for your decks by email and build that out on the page. Everybody, thanks for coming. Watch the newsletter, watch the Facebook group, watch all of that for announcements of when we're going to do this again. And like I said, if you want to volunteer to be a presenter rather than just a participant, happy to have that as well. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a good rest of your day. Talk to you guys soon.